Good.
Hey, your message last week, but I was in transit, so I figured I'd see you today.
No, it's good.
Thank you for the call.
Exciting news.
Yeah, definitely. Good, I'm sitting out of view of the screen, that makes me happy.
What's that?
It's on camera, so that's a good thing.
You weren't centered.
What you up to? Anything good?
Never good to do.
Never good.
Trouble.
Why?
Hello, how's
So
that?
did you want to move this or no?
Yeah.
Morning.
The tardy.
No, we got a few minutes.
Hey, Rush, hi,
Kim, where you been, all right?
Good.
Everything's well?
It's not gonna be quick, yes. Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, Brent.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You look energetic.
One of those guys.
Oh, look, I'm on the screen. Hi, Trish.
How many hours does it take to get there?
I don't know, Donna.
I mean,
It's like
I
an hour and a half
feel
late.
Oh.
That's
Yeah,
Yeah, we got a tailwind.
So you didn't have to.
No, Scarborough Trail was right.
Go through the airport. was good.
Yeah. No, no issues.
That's awesome. It's good to hear.
Right, the drive down. was
Where's
brutal.
the Southwest?
We took American Airlines.
No, see.
Yeah.
Not that they won't have nonsense, but I mean,
A little less nonsense than some of the others.
I know.
I hear fees.
Say of you.
That place should be just as reasonable. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and the time was perfect, so I wanted to be late in the day and they had a perfect plate, so. The drive day
Exciting.
forever.
I was just saying, I wanted to-
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you? Because I thought it was like under 12.
Blue.
Yeah.
We stopped a couple places, but we ended up spending the night in Charleston.
Right. Morning.
I mean, just some of that rain. Good morning.
Yes.
Good to see you too.
No, it was kind of weird trying to break in with them. Because now it's almost like they charge. You gotta go through this certain, I forget what the heck it's called. So I stopped even playing with them. I tried going through housing.
Does he have a new?
What's that?
They have a new airline coming in. I'm moving in K7 rooms, like little larger than one person. And it's 20.
You left on Friday too.
Oh, wow.
I left on a
That's
Wednesday.
huge.
morning.
Yeah, so
We
we-
flew home on Friday.
Pilots.
Yeah, it was good.
assistant
I'm gonna grab
crew chiefs to
It's just.
Maybe like 8 o'clock in the morning. I was disappointed. because we
I
wanted to
tried,
spend the morning in
I
Charleston.
went through housing.
Check out
And then
that
there's
city, but
this
it's poured
So
rain
I
from us.
have some guy.
So we didn't get to really see Charleston.
Probably never bad.
Rich.
But the weather was good enough to be honest.
Rich and Rob.
You look wide awake.
I worked like 12 hours or 13 hours yesterday. How do I get them up at 6 in the morning? Back to school, I think it's hard, it's gonna be hard. And then-
That's me.
It's not a secret, it's stay and wake up.
First start.
You popped up on the list.
I could've sworn that he mentioned your name.
Hey, Ben.
Might have. I talked to them back in the day, but they never called me back. And I lost.
Yeah, so do I. And I think that's how he reaches out.
Just from the MRP alone, I got referrals from like all over there.
I've never gotten it.
From the referral, call me up randomly, like, hey, I saw you, military.
Well, actually, that's not true. Actually, I have, but it was from another KW, where I was able to
It
reach
was.
me from through Canada.
I said the same thing. Yeah, I think it's.
But yeah, they told me that airplane is gonna be moving in the next, they're slowly moving them in now because there's gonna be 26 planes.
Like 2 years old.
That's a huge,
And
that's huge.
that's a whole other
And some of them are gonna be pilots and stuff, they'll be the engineer committee, you know, they're gonna be on the higher echelon of buying power, so.
Got hosts, we got co-hosts.
I think she really got it.
Want me to hand this out, Jim?
What's that?
Want me to hand this out?
Sure.
Well, I don't know.
there. We got people coming in on Zoom, jumping on Zoom. Got a few minutes yet. A couple minutes yet. So you really want them to do, ones that are on Zoom, to put their hands up or just chat it?
Where you gonna sit? Hey, Robert.
Thanks. Hey.
Oh, how are you, Robert?
You. Good. You don't sit next to me. Eye on the back.
Mark.
So that's okay.
Always good. Hey, how are you?
And Michelle, every time I look at this page, I think this is you. Here she
You mean me?
What? Yeah.
Oh, you think it's me?
Sweet.
Yeah, I have to look at it. Well, thanks.
I just have a different haircut.
Oh, it does look like you.
Oh, it'll be next.
You must be weird.
Is
that stereo?
10 minutes and they call me.
She's got connections.
Where is it?
All good.
Chris, that was what, 91? So I haven't aged at all.
Yeah, But it does look like you did.
It does, that's not.
What was the longest? See that, hear that?
I know.
You got Michelle in the first picture with Gary.
Okay. Nice is that? That's you, girl.
Doesn't look like her. She's even scared. It looks like her.
Exactly, yeah.
Usually people go, that's not me.
Oh, and Robert.
Someone said it looks like
Would have had to been in the '70s or early '80s.
me. 81, 83.
There you go. You tell that dress code.
Ah. 2 more minutes and then we'll get started. How's everyone doing? We got quite a few people on. All right. So how do you want to do this? You want them to raise their hands on it or just jump in? Okay. All right, as we're about to get started, we're going to sit there and I know there might be some questions here. This might be a little bit different class because we get some information to share with you that you're all mostly aware with. We got some other stuff to share also. So anybody who's watching on Zoom, just jump in, just ask a question or whatever it is. Get our attention. I'll try not to turn around, look at the screen too much so you don't see my balding spot. I tried to use the spray to tighten it up, but it didn't work. I'm going to do a little bit different today is we're going to start with, well, first of all, welcome. We might as well get started now. Thank you very much for everybody who's joining in via Zoom and or in person. It's great to start to get built up again. We've got things happening. What I will do is we'll start with is do we have our affiliates with us? Who do we have with us?
We have Dina from YHG. Dina.
Are you there, Dina? Can you see us? And then we have Tracy from Premier. Hello, Dina.
You can switch over to gallery.
Hi, everyone.
There you go. I'm going to have our affiliates talk to us first because I'm thinking that we might have a few questions about what's going on and changes that we're making in the office into the compensation. So I want to make sure that we get our affiliates to get their testimonials out there and what they have going on and share with us what's going on with them. And then we'll get into our meeting, okay? So we'll start with you, Gina, since we got you online. Is that okay?
That's fine with me.
Go.
Good morning, everybody. As always, thank you so much for all you guys do for us. It's awesome. Keep us busy, that's for sure. I just have a couple of things. I'll only take a few minutes. We have a new thing now with the EMDs. We 99% of the time get cashier's checks, but every once in a while we'll get a personal check, and we really can't take personal checks anymore for the EMD. So if you could just ask the buyers to make sure they could get a cashier's check, unless the closing is like 2 months later, then I'll make an exception. But we need to make sure we get cashier's checks. And like I said, 99% of the times we do. So I just wanted to mention that. When you send over your commission statements, if you could send them to your processor, that would be great. You could also send it to the closing email, but the processor is better because then we make sure we get everything. Just a little reminder. I know you guys know most of this, but, and then the affiliated business disclosures. We do get them on again, 90%. We do have them signed at closing, but if everyone could just remember to, when you're doing the YHT order form and you're doing your contract, if you could have that signed too. The other thing I've noticed, just a few agents, maybe it's some of the newer ones, they're sending their orders to either myself or to our YHT closing email. If they could send it to orders@yhttitle.com, that would be really helpful. Because then they won't, and nothing will slip through the cracks. Another thing is if you don't get an acknowledgement in a couple days, then, email your processor, say, hey, did you get this? Just so we're sure that we get all of our orders. Again, just a little reminders. Haven't missed anything. I think everything's been going really smooth. So keep up the great work, guys and gals, and thank you so much.
All right, thank you. So the main contact is you?
Yes, you could certainly get in touch with me for anything, but I want everything to go smooth with the orders. And again, most agents do know that, but if they have any questions, absolutely, they could always contact me.
Okay. Does
All
anybody have any questions for Dina or anything like that? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
You too. Okay, now we have Tammy from Premier. You want to come on up, Tam, so they can see you on screen? There's your camera.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Tammy from Premier Home and Auto. Thank you for everybody that came out to the Lunch and Learn. Got to meet some new people, so that was nice. The Lunch and Learn was all about how to become a shareholder with Premier. I don't know if anybody's currently involved in the title. It kind of works in the same exact way, and it's a good way of making some extra money. And if you're interested, please let me know. I know I reached out to people that currently had 8 sales or higher in the past year, but if it's something that you want to build up and be part of, please let me know. I'm also in the process of sending out some emails to everybody just so you can kind of learn. If anybody's confused on the process on how to use Premier, please contact me and let me know if you are interested, because it's really just a simple email. And we do work very closely with the mortgage companies to make it such a nice, smooth, easy process. And I just wanted to thank everybody that currently in the office that does use Premier. Last month, we actually had our largest sales that we've ever had. So we broke a lot of records last month, which is really good for any of the shareholders, because it's good news when our sales are getting higher and higher. So that's more money back in their pockets.
The minimum they have to do to become a shareholder?
So it's 8 qualified leads. So to be qualified, it's really just a matter of linking us in with an email. Having the client's phone number is huge. That's what makes it a qualified lead. And then we just take it from there. If we don't get the sale, it doesn't impact it being a qualified lead with you guys or not. It's still considered a qualified lead.
And since we're growing a little bit, just wanted, I apologize for
No,
jumping
that's
in.
okay.
Share with them the companies that you do work with. So it's not they just think it's Premier
Yeah.
Insurance, but who you actually are.
Yeah, so we work with 19 different companies. So we do everything from FHA flood to regular conventional flood. We work with Plymouth Rock. We're about to any day get the login for Liberty. We've already gone through the training. We work with Progressive. We work with Lemonade. Goodness, now you're gonna catch me on the spot. I'm trying to remember. And I do this like all day long. Let's see the names. Coming off of my head now.
Neptune is one.
Neptune is one, yes, Neptune. We do, that's part of the flood. We do work with companies like Great Bay that are down the shore for real estate. Then we work with Nationwide. Goodness, now you're gonna catch me in a moment where I can't think of all the names.
So I guess the idea,
There's a
what I'm
lot.
trying to show, there's a lot, but the idea is that you're able to shop pricing and all that kind of stuff. So it's not just like you're locked into one program, you're locked in, you have
Exactly.
the flexibility to go
Yeah,
to.
so we have this one program, which is really amazing. So we are able to stick all of the client's information in one system. And then it pretty much gives us a soft scrub of what the rates are gonna be. And then what we do at that point is we will then see which ones are the best. And we run through those complete quotes for each company, because sometimes claims might make a difference in these things. So we do run through everything and then we're able to come up with the best rates. So the interesting thing that we have is that we have the option, it's funny, because most of the time it doesn't wind up being a bundle deal, because, you know, Progressive or Nationwide might be the best for the auto. And then we have like Universal or another company, Selective, that might wind up being better for the home. So bundles are not always the best rates for us. And people always have that in their heads because that's what the commercials tell you. So, you know, obviously, you know, Liberty just wants you to state everything with Liberty if you're calling them directly, or, you know, that's what companies want you to do. So we have that ability to be able to shop the rates. Now, there are certain things that we always include. So we like to add an extra 25% on top of the dwelling. We always add water backup, you know, sewer line, you know, underground service line protection. So those are the added things we add in there, plus a $500,000 liability on all our policies. So then we are actually able then to find out who, you know, what it is we want and who has that best rate. So many times, you know, we work with DTI issues. If there's a client that, you know, sometimes we're told we can't be over this number. So it's like, okay, so, you know, we make adjustments to try to accommodate, you know, those situations and then let people know, say, hey, you know what? Once you go to closing, we can change that if you want to, you know, to get that where you need to be. We just need to get you to closing. So, you know, we are able to work with people in tight situations too. All right.
So just something that you were able to offer, because I know a lot of times when I was selling and such, it would be, you know, go to the person you're using now. And a lot of times we don't check our car rates and our house rates. We just go, we get comfortable with just making that payment and just going on. So here's a way to bring back some more value and keeping in touch with your clients, saying, how's that working for you? Have you tested it? And, you know, insurance and all that kind of stuff. So again, bringing value to their clients
Yeah.
while they're under contract.
And like Ketty just emailed me the other day about a FHA quote for a flood. So prior to making a bid on the house, find out where is it gonna be? Can you afford the house, you know? Because especially with FHA flood, you never know. It could come back really high and, you know, you're spending all this time on putting something offer in on a house that might have been a done deal right when you get that number, you know?
Yeah, and that make a big difference because it was $300 more
Yeah,
in the monthly
it's a lot.
payment for my client. So
Yeah.
we canceled the contract.
Yeah, well, exactly, and I gave you, you know, even though I did extra work, you know, that's what we're
Thank
here
you, I
for, we're here for
appreciate
the
it.
service, you know what I mean, and so things like that make perfect sense, so I'm glad we can help you out, because you don't want to be down the road.
And I don't know who else has flood insurance. Mike, yours has gone down, right?
Oh, yeah.
Mine has not. Down the shore, so it's about $6,000 a year over and above homeowners insurance. So that is a big number to make sure that you check into.
It was a lot, but it's
Yeah,
FHA.
I'm
There's
glad
nothing
you
you can do about
check.
it. Yeah,
So
it's directly through FEMA, no matter where you go. Let's go to
you may have
Donna.
lost a friend.
Found this here?
Yeah,
Maya
we're
is
gonna,
not happy.
Oh.
we're gonna go with Donna from America's Preferred. Donna, are you on?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
All right.
Hello.
On.
Hello. Thank you for allowing me to attend today. I'm actually attending on behalf of your local area sales manager, Warren Wright. He had something come up last minute, so he asked me to attend. And we're just going to have an in-depth warranty, home warranty 101 class next Monday at 10 a.m. that we would love to see you guys there. We're going to go in depth about how to order the warranty, our 3 unique differential, which is we can allow the homeowners to choose their own licensed contractors for all covered repairs. Our List Secure, which is 2 years post-sale legal protection up to $1,000 for your seller. And then our Client Secure, which is in the event of an errors and omissions claim, we will provide you with 75% of your E&O deductible up to $3,750. And you get it one of 2 ways. One is part of the purchase of the home, or we have a waiver located on page 11 of the warranty brochure. And if you have your client sign that waiver because they don't want it, then you will also have that Client Secure. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Any questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Is that
You're
training going to be recorded?
No, I do not know if it'll be. It's through one of the Keller Williams links, so it could be.
Hey, Jim, you might want to
reiterate that form, that risk reduction form that she's just talked about on page 11, present to you.
On page 11, the risk reduction as far as the E and O. Is she still with
Yes,
us,
it's-
Donna?
Yes, I am. It is
You
on
want to
page
share that
11.
with us? Yeah.
Yeah, let me pull up, I'm gonna actually pull up the Keller Williams because we are, after a couple months ago, we are a premier partner for KW. So let me show you the branded warranty brochure that we have for KW agents. Let me see if I can. It says I'm not able to share the link. I'm not able to share it. I can email the warranty brochure to you. And then it's just located on page 11 of the warranty brochure on the lower left-hand corner. If you present the warranty to your client and they choose no warranty or go with a different one, just have your client sign that waiver section, keep it with that transaction, and you'll have client secure.
And this is
The sheets are all in the back above your mailboxes, guys, like in those America's Preferred Home Warranty packets, that's what she's referring to. So Warren puts them back there. So if you want to take some, you can make copies of it, but it's page 11 of that packet.
So again, this is an extra protection. You get your warranty paper there.
Yes.
This is an extra protection for your E and O insurance, as long as you're offering the warranty. If should, God forbid, you be sued for something like that, this will support and back up. Was it 75% or up to?
It's up to 75%, which is a max payout of up to $3,750, depending on what your E&O deductible is.
So again, this is something that's well worth it. The protection alone, I mean, first of all, I don't know, does anybody here or anybody online have a home warranty? Because I do. I'm still waiting for them to cancel me out because I abuse them. I've had refrigerators replaced, I've had washers, dryers, dishwasher, a faucet, 2 garage door openers or 2 garage door springs and systems set up. And what those numbers would have cost if I didn't have a home warranty would be astronomical, and a heater. So,
Definitely.
you know, especially when you start hitting that house that's about 12 years old or older, that's when things start to go south a little bit. So always something well worth advising your clients to get, especially in today's world when they're looking at possibly not getting the repairs or not getting all the information they want because it's such a higher seller's market. Again, the home warranty is the thing to try to get them involved in, whether they're paying for it or we can get the seller to pay for it. It's definitely well worth it.
And especially if you are, because there for a while where they were foregoing the home inspections. You do want, because you don't know what you're going to walk into, what's behind the walls after you close. So it is a good peace of mind for the buyer as well as the seller after closing.
Does everybody know what's included in like a home warranty or the different home warranties? Appliances, the electrical, plumbing, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah,
Sometimes you forget.
What I'll do is I have a great acronym is I will put it into the chat. It's called PEACH, which equals P equals plumbing, E equals electric, A equals appliance, C equals cooling, H equals heating. I will put that acronym in the chat box along with Warren's information.
Fantastic, thank you.
You're welcome.
Very much.
Thank you. Next we have Nancy.
And now we have Nancy from Green Tree. Nancy, how are you doing?
You're muted, Nancy.
We're doing great. Rates are wonderful as they continue to be. There are some new guidelines in regards to student loans. So it's good news for buyers because they're counted at a lower payment. This is critical to some of our first-time buyers. And we'll be doing a webinar and in-person lunch this month on the 21st regarding PMI and how PMI can help your buyers. So I'd love you guys to come and learn how it's going to help you as agents. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else on?
Nope.
All right, we're good. So then don't forget about Wayne over at Transfer Moving or Transtar Moving. And of course, Rick Brown with Esham Mortgage also. So thank you. And the reason, like, again, I appreciate everybody kind of going out of order for me, because then we get into the fun stuff. First, I guess, I'm gonna start with buyer needs, because seller needs, everybody has needs. Anybody have any buyer needs going on? And I'm gonna start with one. I've got a nephew who's looking for a property with some, somewhere at least 3/4 of an acre and more in that 375 range. Focus primarily in Berlin County. They like privacy. So, and the houses that are in that market, as with any house on the market, is disappearing. So if you have anything coming up, you know, if we can keep it in-house, I'm more than glad if it meets his needs. Anybody else have any buyer needs?
I do.
Go ahead, Val.
I have a buyer looking for a townhouse, West Hampton, Mount Laurel. You know, two to three bedrooms, up to 290. So she's
Okay.
actively looking. I have some clients that are also looking for a rancher in Hamilton, Yardville area, up to 350. They want a rancher with or without a basement.
Well, see, now we can talk, because my nephew will be selling a townhouse in Marlton.
Oh yeah, because Marlton's cool too.
We're actually selling one in Marlton too. It just went on the market the other day.
Last name's not Day, is it?
Oh, who was that?
It's Chris with TCS New Jersey. One of our agents, Zach, we just listed his townhome the other day. It's 1302 Roberts Lane in Marlton, 3 beds, 1.5 baths. 1464.9.
I'm sorry, you said that kind of fast. What was the address?
Sorry, I speak quickly. 1302 Roberts Lane.
1302 Roberts Lane.
Oh, okay, I'll look it up.
Cool.
Jim, I'm getting a townhouse in Marlton in about 2 weeks.
Well, just wait.
2.5 baths, 1-car garage, high to not, like just under 300.
Did you hear that?
Barely, it was kind of faint.
3-bedroom, 2.5 bath townhome in Marlton and Forest Glen. We listed around 299.
So,
And unit, 1-car garage.
so you're getting a few, see? This is the whole thing of asking for, you know, what you need, and now we've got some things coming up. It's awesome. Anybody else have a need?
I'm looking for a ranch, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, a little bit of privacy. Barclay will be ideal, up to 350, Cherry Hill area.
Don't you have one thing? Just buy one, can't we sell it?
No,
Well,
it's
also-
hard to come.
So a 3-bedroom, 2-bath rancher
Yeah.
in Cherry Hill area.
Cherry Hill or, Cinnamon Sun.
Regular trek.
Camden, Burlington area, not too many trees. I don't know, they're stuck with that.
Okay.
Every single place that has a tree, they are like, no trees. New Jersey. I also have a buyer, I can't find, of course, it's because the price, max 185,000 in the Trenton area. He's not very picky, so he would love to have land. So even if it's a shack, he would look at it. And I have another buyer in the Pennsauken area for 150 max.
Okay.
I know.
The next step that always counts.
I'm still looking for my buyers in Hatfield. 3 acres, privacy, swimming pool.
There should be many of them. Any other buyer, or how about seller needs?
Well, I have.
Oh, you gotta go,
buyers,
go.
but I put proposals in and don't hear anything back. I need a condo up to 200, Marlton area, Mount Laurel. They just say yes to me, FHA,
Okay.
up to 200. I have another one that wants a 2-story, like Blackwood Sewell area, 250. It just can't get
You bring up
anybody
a
to say yes.
great point, though, is that the listing agents aren't getting back to you. I just want to make
They don't
sure
get
that
back to you.
as agents, Mike and knows this as well as I do, get back to the buyer agents, whether they got it or not, just say, sorry, it's not, needs, because the market's going to change and that agent's going to remember when when you need that buyer to come to your listing, because it's a buyer's market. They're going to remember who responded and who didn't respond. You want to have that courtesy level, because the markets change constantly. And anybody have any new listings that are coming up? We heard about the townhouse, yes?
I just put a house in the market in Pennsylvania, Falls Grove. It's a twin house, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom.
How much?
185.
Anybody else have any new listings?
You just decided that off the top of your head?
I have a house going on today in Leisure Town, 11 Cardi, gonna be listed for 215.
Okay, congratulations.
I have one in Marlton coming up, 3-bedroom with an in-law suite. It's in like downtown Marlton. And she's getting it ready to put on the market around 300, 325. We'll have to see what she does.
Wow.
What is it, a single?
Yeah, single, want it. With an in-law suite.
Nice.
Nice.
There you go, congratulations. All right, anybody out there have anything? I turn around, I should be looking up there, I'm sorry, anybody out there? All right, well, good, let's welcome new agents.
So we had quite a few new agents last month. Jason Peterson, who joined TCS's team. Erica Simmons, Gabriella Kay, Raymond Mason, Pamela Curse, and Bilal Floyd.
So congratulations to everybody who's here. We have Ivana here with her, and she's actually just joined us yesterday.
You'll be on next month.
We'll talk about you later. And we have 2 new cappers.
So 2 new cappers for last month, Liz Grumbacher on Michael Carr's team and Tara Maloney. So congratulations.
Liz has been with us for what?
Liz is brand new to the business. She joined Mike Carr's group about 6 months ago, and she's already capped and well over capped, actually. She's closed since she capped probably about another 6 or 7 deals. So she's killing it.
Awesome.
And what's nice about it, I don't know if you've noticed as you're walking down the hallway over here to your left, if you haven't been here recently, or if anybody come visit us, there is now a capper wall. So it's got the picture of some of our people here that have capped recently. So congratulations. All right, numbers.
So we had a really good August. So we closed almost $40 million in sales volume, paid out just under $1 million in commissions. And last but not least, and most importantly, we broke a record last month for profit share at $32,084. So that was our biggest month ever with profit share. So congratulations to you guys.
There's a lot of things to celebrate. I guess we got to talk about Rob Williams. Rob, you want to stand up?
Let's start over again. No, now we have to.
We want to.
Yes.
It is you. But anyway, and congratulations to everybody who's in the mentoring and pro coaching program with Robert. So far, year to date, they've done over $12 million in business. So congratulations to everybody who's watching as part of that. Congratulations to everybody who's here, part of the pro coaching. If you're in a rut or you need a little bit of help, Robert's here. It doesn't just have to be new agents, experienced agents, agents that just haven't been able to get past the capping or up to the capping status. They want to get there. I'm sure Robert will gladly help out.
Absolutely.
So please, feel free to reach out to Robert. So congratulations, and that's an awesome number.
Thank you, yeah, we're on course to beat last year, we did 16 mil last year. So now the whole quarter left, we're on course to beat that. And couple cappers coming up too. Getting on that wall, we're taking over that wall.
To date, you have 4, right? Is it 4?
No, I think we had 3, Roscoe's probably in there now, yeah, and then we have 2 more that should be next month.
Great job.
Yeah.
So congratulations to everybody. So I guess we'll hit what hopefully some of you are interested in knowing, because it hit talking about cappers and getting on the capper wall. As we've done it, we've been running basically the same business model for the past 20 years in the area with Keller Williams, and that's the $21,000 cap, $3,000 royalty, and then you're at 100%. Doing a guerrilla warfare, just in case people are asking why we're doing it, every so often we go back and we call it guerrilla warfare. We go see what's going on around our area, what's happening in the business and everything else. After doing that, we've come to the decision to reduce the cap to $16,000. Thank you. It was all me, had nothing to do with any of the leadership. But anyway, which is a great thing. It starts September 1st. So starting September 1st, if you were at $16,000 to company dollar since your anniversary date or more, you were capped. Just understand, we're not going back and filling your pockets with what you may have overpaid. That was your cap. We just reduced your cap. So it starts, everybody's effective September 1st. I want you to be aware, Gabby, you'll support on this, this is as we make these adjustments to the program into our computer system, into our payroll system and everything else, it takes a little bit. So it might take a little bit longer to get your checks out, because we got to verify everything's been reduced and all that kind of stuff, make sure that you're not overpaying. If we do miss one, please don't get upset. We're not purposely trying to attack anybody. It's just come back and say, I think I'm capped or something like that, and we'll revisit it and make sure that we get all the numbers and everything else correct. So, bear with us as we make this transition, because it does take reprogramming and resetting a lot of the numbers that are in the systems. You have anything to add to that? Was that good? Did I do good? Okay. Anybody have any questions about that? I mean, and that's for the full cappers that we're at 21,000. For anybody who was part of a team that was at a cap at 10,500, your cap has been reduced to 9,500. So again, as you're building a team, it's a reduction in the cap. And then for anybody who's in a mega team, which would be like 10 or over, that's a separate conversation that we'll have, that's already been addressed and such. But anyway, so when you're talking to, even if you're in a mega camp or anything else, and you're talking to agents, again, here we are coming back to try to help our agents succeed at even a higher level. Plus, we still are not have the training. Plus, we're still doing more and more to try to help the agents succeed at a higher level. So please, share with your fellow co-ops. We'd love to sit down and talk to them. We'd love to get your profit share up. Again, we had a $32,000 profit share month. Again, those profit share checks go out each month, and it's based on a month. It's not done annually. It's done monthly. Books are closed out monthly. All right. Anybody have any questions, concerns, thoughts, excitement? I see Nancy's calling somebody right now to tell them to come join us. Anyone? Boy, that was easy. I thought there were questions and concerns. All right, now we got another thing. We had our ALC meeting last week. The ALC meeting has gone over a couple of times. What they've agreed, or what they all agreed upon, an ALC Agent Leadership Council, top 20% is to be qualified to be on this leadership group, is that when we're co-operating with other agents and doing listings, We need to give out 2.5% out to the buyer's agent. Okay? If there is a issue or something like that, and there's always another reason, maybe it's a $4 million property and people are only willing to pay 4% or something like that. We'll discuss it, or it has to be split evenly. But if you run into any questions concerning about commission splits and all that to a level, again, you have freedom to do 5%, 6%, 5.5%, 2.5%, whatever you want to go out. But, and then when you hit 100% with your son, what you're choosing to do is your choice. But again, you know, we just want to keep keep everybody in sync, that the 2.5%, 3% is the normal. And if there's any changes that you need to make, just run it by myself. Okay.
Jim, I was just gonna say, it's not normal, it's just all negotiable.
Yeah. That's fair. Negotiable. It's negotiable. We just negotiate to a certain level. All right. All right. Grand opening.
So our grand opening for this office is coming up on Thursday, September 23rd from 5 to 9. You all should have received a personalized invite to your emails. If you feel like you didn't get one, let me know. Please RSVP if you can through that link that was in your email, if you'll be attending or if you cannot make it. Again, you guys are welcome to bring co-op agents to show them around the office. If it's anybody you're interested in recruiting to the office, please feel free to bring them. It'll be a really fun night, so please join us if you can.
In professional attire would be nice.
Yes, please don't come in shorts. It is going to be cocktail hour themed. Also, don't come in a ball gown. It's not that extreme and it's not a competition. So, James, I know. You're very disappointed, but no ball gown, please.
Okay. People go.
Okay, so another update. This one's on a little more personal level. So our culture committee, every month or every quarter has decided that we'll pick local charities to delegate our KW, what you guys donate to KW Cares, to that local charity. It was recently brought to our attention that one of our agents, Dina Primke, whose daughter, who's 27, has been going through cancer treatment. She has thyroid cancer. Dina has been covering a lot of her bills. Obviously, you know, she's 27, she's got student loans, she's got other debts. So Dina has been covering the majority of her bills. So we have decided that as an office, anything you guys donate moving forward to KW Cares or in any fashion, we have Venmo. You guys can just write me a check, you can bring me cash, however you so choose. All those proceeds will go directly to Dina's daughter to help pay some of those medical bills and help her out. She still is not sure if she's in remission right now. They're waiting on results. She did have quite a few surgeries to try to get it removed and a little bit of radiation. So we're looking to help them as much as possible. And if you guys have questions about that, reach out to me. If you're not sure, if you want to do something, just come see me directly and we'll figure it out.
But this is family, so we need to help as much as we can. Staff and commissions.
You already went over that.
Okay, I did good. All right.
You want to talk PC?
No. Did you read page one? I'm not saying anything. See page one at the bottom? I'm done.
James has a couple of things for us. One is get tax.
Can I say something though, seriously, on the PC side? I want to thank James because he's got a lot to do with how my agents perform. I'm not the tech guy at all. I'm the real estate guy. And seriously, if it wasn't for James, I appreciate everything you do for all the agents, pushing them on that tech side, because I send a lot of crap his way that I don't deal with necessarily. So thank you, sir.
Thank you.
James also has an update, besides being with tech, he's going to share us what's going on with tech. He's also got an update on NTN. That he just spoke to them about.
All right, so let's go over the NTN part of it. I'm working with the NTN right now to seeing about bringing them into actually doing a training on the NTN report. So a lot of us can kind of better understand when we're reading the reports and we're either on the listing side or either on the buying side, you know, being able to understand it. A big update that's happened to the NTN reports as of what I've heard yesterday from our rep is if you had a tenant who, or if you have a prospective renter that's looking to rent and they're getting negatively impacted by something that happened last year that's being reported under the eviction umbrella part of it, have them rescored, because the government has now told all entities, all people running reports, that they have to remove all of that. So for example, I have a tenant now who has 2 items from last year, which they fall under file evictions, but they're actually late payments. And you'll see the amount of how much they're late. But then underneath the report, it'll say NTN is negatively removing 45 points from the score, dropping it down to a 37. Well, because of the government and this new mandate now that they're removing or having all these companies remove it from the report, my client, once she rescores, she's going to get back those 45 points, which will shoot her back up to about an 85. All right. Another change that they're going to be making as well too is they should be adding the credit score to the report. You will get it in the rejection letter or the acceptance letter, but it should now also show in the report. You won't get the.
Already showing.
Yeah, so it's something that they should have made the change, but you should see the credit score now. And then the one of the other changes that they've made is it's a time frame change where I have another client who something happened back in 2015. What they're going to do is they're going to do a 5-year limit. So it'll still be reported on the report, but if whoever's done a report, you'll notice that it will show red as like, a rejection. Well, it'll now show as black because they're actually going to satisfy it and not necessarily remove it, but the points that would have been deducted because of it, they're actually giving back. So I actually have 2 tenants now who are actually going to rescore themselves. And because of these new changes, their scores will actually increase. So if you have any tenants that have any negative stuff coming from last year or anything over 5 years, you may want to get them rescored, because I know it's really tough out there for a lot of, tenants to get in, because if you're getting 10, 15 offers, most of the listing agents are just looking straight at that score, or the landlords are just looking straight at that score. So this could help a lot of people. I know it's going to help my 2 clients. So look on the schedule for when I find out as far as when I'm going to schedule that NTN class. All right. Some other class.
James?
Is that only for, I'm sorry, is that only for our, because I know NTN is configurable, so do they do it at a national level? Are they making those changes? Or is it at the regional level?
So this is so with regard to the COVID thing, that's a government thing. Okay. That's a government mandate. So at least for our state, they're removing.
I think it's federal.
Okay,
Federal,
yeah,
okay.
Federal, yeah. So it's that's a federal change until they decide otherwise to start reporting it again.
But as a landlord, will I be able to see
No.
the history?
No.
So Jim, who's scrubbing this? Is that the
So
government?
that is, okay.
All right, no, and I'm not NTN. I'm just
Right,
telling you what
right.
I, okay? All right, no, I know where you're getting. Yeah, I know, right? So what it is that the federal government has mandated that they are forgiving all of the late payments, all of the eviction filings through COVID, which means that all companies are no longer allowed to report it, period.
Really?
Yes, so again, I'm not NTN,
Yeah,
so I'm bringing the rep in. You can hit her when she comes, all right? So. Yeah, so when I scheduled the NTN class, and I'm trying to do it because we have on October 7th, please, all of you guys come in. October 7th, we're bringing in Lori Greenberg again. She did a class last year for our tenant law. She's coming back again to re-examine and to update us on new rules and regulations with regards to tenant and landlord law. That's going to be October 7th. That's going to be here at the Marlton office at 1:30. And we'll try to do Zoom as well, and we'll try to record that as well too. Valerie, I heard you on the microphone. Did you have a question?
Yes, I did. With the rescore, I mean, do they have to go and pay for another NTN
Yes.
report?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
My two people were 60 days over, so they had to rescore anyways, because we've had a difficult time finding a property. So we were gonna rescore regardless.
Jim, did they have a chance to say?
Excuse me. Hello,
Yes.
can you hear me?
Yes.
When we say all companies, are we talking about,
You want mute? She's
I lost you.
You're on mute.
okay, I'm back now?
Yes.
Okay, when we say all companies, are we talking about reporting companies or are we talking about the top three like Experian and TransUnion?
Okay, so that's a different thing. You're talking about credit scores. So when it comes to credit scores, NTN pulls our credit scores the way that any lender would. So when you're looking at credit scores on the NTN report, that's like any lender would. That's how they're pulling it. Now, if you get no score, then your lender would have gotten no score as well too. And that could be for a lot of different reasons. Again, NTN will be in, we're gonna bring them in, they'll answer those questions for you. I don't know yet. I'm still working on it.
So
Yes.
Did they happen to say, after they scrub these files, are they gonna show the landlord proof of payment that they paid, or they're just scrubbing files?
So what they're doing is, according to the federal government, they're telling them not to report anything that's happened through COVID. So for example, you're renting a property from me, you were late, I filed against you, right? The way that it would show on the report, those filings will not be shown on the report because the federal government is asking for a forgiveness.
They should probably do the same thing for landlords, right?
I had the same question, but again, that's a whole nother thing. Yeah, all right. So also to move a little quickly on this, after today's meeting, I'm also going to be doing a class on DocuSign. So please don't jump off if you normally would, just stay on because I'm going to jump into DocuSign. September 27th, I'm doing a class on how to get leads for $20. All right. So that'll be another class in the Marlton office. October 7th is the tenant law class. And I'm also going to be doing a night class because I've seen a lot of dual agents coming in asking for a night class. I'll put that on the calendar and then I'll let you know, just keep an eye out on the calendar for when I schedule that NTN class. All right. Thanks, guys.
Nice job.
Thanks.
Glad he took that shot. What I was asking is, you guys do tenant insurance?
Yes, we do renters.
Okay, well, there you go. So
You can do it for colleges. Great stuff.
you can do it for colleges. Lessons learned. I'll ask Mike to see if he has anything, but things I want to make you aware, it's not so much lessons learned, it's be on top of your dates on your contracts. What I'm coming across is it seems like sellers want to keep that escrow money. It really doesn't have to do with anything legally, they just want to keep the money. And so there's no reason to give them any excuse that they might be able to. There's no way we can, we can't decide who gets the money or who's not. It has to be agreed upon by both parties. But we just want to make sure that we're covered and our clients have been covered correct, properly.
Yeah, just document everything because there's timelines. If somebody doesn't perform on a contract, you can't just forget about it. And if they have money held in escrow, you have to have some documentation to show that you've tried to receive this money or to retrieve it and had some effort to get releases. A lot of people just push the deal off to the side. Like we had one this morning at 7:30 this morning. And they wanted to know, the agent, even though both sides mutually agreed to release, the agent still wanted a disqualification letter from the lender. I mean, why? They've already moved on. So there's a lot of people holding on to money that they shouldn't be holding on to. So just let Jim or I know about it so we could at least call the other broker or whoever we have to talk to at one point to get ahead of it. So it doesn't become a lawsuit.
But it's become more common lately.
Everyone thinks they just keep it. It's not the way it works. You gotta read the contract. You need someone to read it to them.
Yeah, so that's one thing that I've noticed has really come up. Also brought up is we know attorneys are getting involved with a lot of deals. Again, if they say they find the contract void or null and void, then that deal is done until you renegotiate the terms of, you know, or accept or come to terms with the whatever changes that the attorney's trying to make. If the attorney, and James went through this a little while ago, doesn't put null and void on there, and just says we would like, what was his term?
The term has to be disapproved. If the lawyer says we want these particular changes and you're looking at it and you're thinking that it's a disapproval letter, but it doesn't say it, it's not disapproved, which means if you go through attorney review without a disapproval letter, you're under contract. So you have to make sure it says disapproved on it. And that's happened to me with 2 attorneys who did not put that in, who were representing my buyer, and the other side thought they were disapproved, which we were not. And we were under contract, which then went into list pendant. So it's, yeah, you have to pay attention
We're
to
still
that.
negotiating at that point.
Yeah, well, after attorney review, if no changes were made, then the attorney review letter doesn't mean anything because they didn't accept it. So you're still under contract.
So, I mean, that's a big point. The other point, and I know we've gone through this with an agent who's no longer with us. When you're negotiating and you get a, you know, during your attorney review, you get another offer. If your client's even thinking about countering and all that kind of stuff, the different offers are going back to the first buyer. Get out of the contract first before you start, because what we had was they went back and forth, but they never canceled the first contract. So what happens after the 3-day attorney review, all the monies that both the current buyer and the future buyers were offering went down to 0, and they went right back to the original because it wasn't canceled at that point. So obviously the seller was not excited knowing that they could have had X amount of dollars and went back, went back to the same thing. Have you seen anything else lately that's been trending?
It's really been the escrows, and as James said, you know, if one side has an attorney, the other side doesn't, you still have to, as an agent, you still have to reflect and address those conditions. Please just get an addendum. You know, if somebody has to fix a piece of trim, somebody has to fix a piece of roof, tile, whatever it is, have an addendum executed by both seller and buyer, not the agents. The agent's not part of the contract. I don't know how many discussions we have periodically that the agent cannot say what a seller or buyer has to do. The buyer and seller have to agree to that, and it's just, it makes it a lot easier when it's in writing.
And just so you people know that's on camera, is there are people sitting in the room. I know it may not look that way. But they are here. We don't have somebody going back and forth, Trish and Gabby making up voices. And again, we do want you all to be here if possible for the grand opening. We're looking for a nice time. It's going to be catered. It's going to be things to drink. Use your own imagination. And it'd just be nice. I mean, we've opened up during COVID, so it's kind of been a slow process to get here. Hopefully we're there within the next week. All right, thank you very much for everybody. Anybody else have anything else that they need or exciting news that they want to share with us?
I just want to say that the Harvest Fest right down the street in Marlton is September 25th.
Okay, did you hear that? Harvest Fest, September 25th.
If anybody wanted to be a sponsor, get a table.
Okay,
I don't know if it's still, I'll put them out there if it's still need that. We are having in town a senior expo. And that's to get all the senior citizens on board with what they need in town. If anybody wants to put a table out.
I'll have Robert.
Good job, and then they tear you down at the end.
Everybody on Zoom, don't forget if you want to stay on for James's class, stay on, don't leave.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Keep on turning around.
It's fine, no, I like talking to seniors.
Thank you.
I do, I think I do leisure time. When is it?
There you go.
I met the old people.
Make sure they come.
Guys, if you're staying for his class, it's starting in 5 minutes. If you're not, I would just kindly ask you to leave this room so he can focus on his Zoom.
Thank you.
But I said kindly get out. Please leave.
Take care, everybody. Have a great day.
See you, Mike.
Let's do. You still there? You still there?
Exactly, yeah, then you're just gonna put their email, you're emailing them and emailing me as well. I don't worry about the writing emails, and just put their first names.
I just like have a conversation in my head, so I'm gonna have Tammy call you.
Yeah, so just put their name in there, and then their.
For all you guys that are still on the call, just give me about another 2 minutes just to log in to DocuSign, and I'm gonna start sharing my screen with you guys, all right?
And you'll see, it's really simple.
I'm going to the wrong side, right? Okay, all right, cool, yeah, I have,
Yeah, no, definitely. That looks great, like,
yeah, I mean. But yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really qualified, but you start, getting qualified. Right, so say from down and then send everything out. You know what I'm saying?
Right, so we could go like from now to then, if I only have 6.
Yeah. Yes, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's not as you started to be down to that minute. Okay. So having to be qualified from now to then, that's when. Yeah.
Great day.
Take care.
Thank you. It was nice having you back together.
All right, I'm gonna groove back into my command thing. I'm gonna try and call them and see if I can get that straightened out. So I can get online and have you help me. All right? Because I think I'm gonna say this, I could not get any of those things to link up with any of my, my email addresses, which doesn't make sense. So they're gonna have to just sweep it. I think it's because I previously used to use it, as I mentioned to you before, and I think it's just contradicting each other every time I put it in. It kind of resets.
All right,
So
yeah,
we'll figure it
that
out.
should fix it.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Have a great day.
Huh? Until I have to pick the kids.
I did have one question.
All right, that's fine. All right, guys, I'm gonna start in just a second. Just have to clear everybody out of the room. All right. Brenda, because I can see you on my call. Well, I see you can hear me because you perked up. All right, so you can hear me good? No issues? I come in clear? All right, great. All right, everybody. So for the people that are still here on the call and in the room, I'm going to go through some stuff with DocuSign. Let me also change this view real quick. All right. So, Kathy, Beverly, Raymond, I think you and I have spoken before, Giselle, and is it Rupalo? Are you guys using DocuSign? Have you used DocuSign? Are you familiar from that? Are you, familiar with it?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Kathy and Beverly, are you guys using it? Yes, okay. Raymond, I see your text. Kathy?
Yes.
All right, great. So what I'm going to jump into with regard to DocuSign is I'm going to show you with regards to the details page, and I'm also going to share with you with regards to the unique email address that DocuSign has for you. All right. Have any of you guys, and it'd be great if you guys have cameras, if you can turn them on. I really don't care what you look like, but sometimes it's easier for me to see a thumbs up or whatever from you. Do any of you guys know about the DocuSign email address? Have you guys used it? Brenda, you have? No? All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen just to show you as far as what I'm talking about. And if you could, when I switch screens, if you guys can actually just unmute yourselves if you have any questions, because when I switch screens, it's hard for me to see the chat. It goes by really quickly. So if you have any questions as I'm showing you stuff within DocuSign, just unmute yourselves and just ask me the question, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the screen and I'm going to switch over to DocuSign. And there we go. All right, and I'm going to move you guys around a little bit on my screen. All right. So when you're in DocuSign, and if you don't know this already, the most important thing that you're going to have to do when you come into the room for the very first time. Now, keep in mind, when you come into the room for the very first time, you're not going to see the documents that are up on my screen right now. This is just a test account for me for training and for whenever I'm just doing anything random. So when you come in here for the very first time, it's actually going to be completely blank in here. Now, when you're coming into the room for the very first time from the opportunity, it should sync all of the information from this details page. So if you see here, I switched over back to command and I'm in the opportunity and I'm in the details page of the opportunity here, okay? Over here on this right hand in the middle here, you'll see that this says synced. This means that this should be pulling the information into the room in DocuSign, all right? So any information that you put in here should sync with DocuSign. Now, if it doesn't, when you come back over here, you can hit this sync transaction button and this will update all the information in DocuSign. So everything that you see on this details page here, you see the name, the buyer's agent's name, the buyers, and so on and so forth. That information is pulling from this details page. Now, you only really have to do it one time. And usually that happens when you create the room for the very first time and you pull the information. it should then take the information from this area here and pull it into the room. All right, but the way that I want you guys to start getting into the habit of doing things is I want you guys to start looking at, when you come in here, switching over to the details page and just making sure that your people that are here, whether they're seller 1, seller 2, just make sure that their information is showing correctly. All right, now I'm going to pause here just for a second in case any of you guys have any questions up until this part.
I have a question.
Sure.
I came over from Berkshire Hathaway, but I came over during the COVID time. So although my DocuSign is set up, I usually use zip forms, and that's also how I have everything signed. Is it better to use DocuSign rather than zip forms?
That's actually just a preference. I mean, you can use zip forms, but the thing is that if you're over, I mean, you're part of which board are you associated with? Burlington or Camden?
Burlington.
I'm sorry. Burlington, Camden, or Gloucester?
Burlington, Camden.
Okay, so you're part of Nexus.
Yes.
All right, so this is how you would get your form. So what you're doing is you're coming in to add the document, and then you're going straight to zip forms. And I used to have this thing that would show up here, but someone removed it. You're over here in zip forms, but if you've connected to the board, you don't have to. You can just come over to DocuSign Forms. And then because this is connected to Nexus, it's going to pull all of your documents right in here. So like if I need a document, all I do is click on Nexus, or I click on the jar, whatever the issue is, and then I can actually just like, so like, for example, I come to the jar and I can say, all right, here's the addendum for new construction. I can just click on it and then it'll add straight to the room. But I mean, it's your choice. I mean, I'm not going to tell you not to use it. I don't, bless you. But you don't necessarily need to. It's your choice.
Okay.
If you need to go any further with zip forms, I'm probably not going to be the person for you because I don't use zip forms.
Okay.
Just
But-
remember, may I? That you
Yes.
don't have to put it in command, Kathy.
Yes, exactly. So if I use DocuSign, I don't have to put it in command, it just syncs.
Goes over there, yes. Right, Jim?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So for example, to what Brenda's saying, so if I'm in the Documents tab here in the opportunity, right? And excuse me, because I have some files that are already sitting here. But let's say, for example, I'm going to, so I go to attach files and I go DocuSign. And what it's doing, it's syncing with DocuSign. So let's say that I'm looking for the RESPA, right? I can just click on here and then look for the document in question. So let's say, for example, this is it. All right, I just click on it and now it's adding that document straight from DocuSign. That's how easy it is.
So it's saving me steps, actually.
Yes.
I'm sorry, say that again?
It's gonna save me steps.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
I would assume that if you're doing it from zip forms, and Brenda could probably correct me if I'm wrong, I'm assuming that zip forms, you would probably have to save it to your computer, and then once you save it to your computer, then you would have to browse the file from your computer, look to see where it is in one of your files on your desktop, and then add it. So yeah, it's like a couple of extra clicks, as opposed to if you're using it from DocuSign. So let's say this was the document in question and I sent it out for signatures. All I do is just change this over to feed from DocuSign and then look for the document within DocuSign. And then just click and add it.
Exactly.
Cool?
Great, thank you.
Yep. All right, so jumping back over to DocuSign. So please remember, when you come into DocuSign for the very first time for your opportunity, just click through the details page and just make sure that your information for your seller, your whoever it is, whether you're your listing agent or your buyer's agent, just make sure that you go back over the information just to make sure that it's correct. All right. and then save the information, of course, and then you can start moving over to the documents. When you start moving over to the documents now, if I start pulling any of these documents, it's going to pull the information from the details page. So there's going to be two ways, and I'll show you in a second what I mean by that, because some people are making it harder for themselves because when they're creating the envelope, they're putting in room participants as opposed to using pre-tag roles. The pre-tag roles is like when Brenda sends me a document to upload it into DocuSign, she gives me a blank document, I send it over to DocuSign, and then DocuSign goes through the document and says, okay, this is a document for a buyer. So we're gonna put a buyer signature tab here. We're gonna put their date sign box here. We're gonna fill out this text box here, and so on and so forth. So what they're doing in essence is they're pre-tagging the document. So so for example, if I were to take this proposal purchase here, and I'm gonna right click on it to create an envelope, this is the difference between the two, and I'll show you. Right here where it says add recipient, you're gonna see pre-tag roles and room participants. Well, we've had a lot of agents who didn't understand what pre-tag roles was, so they're using room participants because they're thinking, oh, well, I have to put the people who are participants in the room here. And then they're going through picking the people. But when you do that, you override what DocuSign has done with the pre-tag roles. So if I click pre-tag roles here like this, it's going to say, okay, which ones are you using? And I'm going to say, well, I'm using on this document buyer 1 and buyer 2's position. And then I'm going to click on who those people are. So I'm going to say, okay, Biggie Smalls is going to be my buyer 1, and then Freddie Mercury is going to be my buyer 2. Now, what it's going to do then is it's going to go into the document because DocuSign has already set up those positions for buyer 1 and buyer 2. And now I'm basically telling the system, hey, Biggie Smalls needs to go into every section that buyer 1's places of where he needs to sign or fill out. That's where he goes, and he's authorized for those spots. Freddie Mercury is authorized to sign in only his spots. So when I do this just like that and I add the selected, I'm done. So all I have to do now is go into the document by clicking the next button. So when I click into it, because DocuSign has already pre-tagged the roles, it's pre-tagged the document for all of the signature spots for my clients. So when I come in here, right, I see Biggie Smalls' name is up here on the top left, and there's his color for yellow. And I see that there's his spot that he's supposed to sign. If I switch this over to Freddie Mercury, I can see that that's blue, so that's where he's supposed to sign. So I don't have to do anything on this document. But if you were doing contracts and you did room participants, then what you would have to do is let's pretend that these are removed. Right? So I'm just going to show you what that would look like. So you would come in here as a room participant. I would have to click on Biggie Smalls and I would say, oh, okay, I don't have anything here because I overwrote what DocuSign had done. So you're making it harder for yourself. So now I would have to bring a signature box in, then I'd have to get a date sign box. Then I'd have to switch this over to Freddie, and I'd have to bring a signature box over for him. And then I'd have to bring a date sign box for him. And let's say that there was, I needed them to fill out something within here, right? So here I'd have to go to Biggie Smalls and say, all right, well, Biggie, he's got to put a checkbox here. Or he has to do one of these checkboxes. See how the color stays yellow? Because that's designated for him. So you're creating more work on this document when you do it this way, when you don't use the pre-tag roles. So I'm going to pause there for a second for any questions. No, you good?
Yeah, I don't have a Keller Williams email yet, so I didn't want to.
You can't get into DocuSign, just okay.
So I'm just watching.
All right. Anyone in the Zoom world, any questions? Anyone not understand what I just explained? I'm gonna hit the back button just to go back so you can see it again. The only time that you should be using the room participants is when you're using a PDF. Does anyone know why that is the case? So here is a form that DocuSign has filled out, and here is a PDF. Why would pre-tag roles not work on a PDF? I'll give someone a gold star if they can tell me the answer. Nobody knows? Because a PDF is just that. It's a PDF that's been uploaded into the system. So DocuSign has no idea where the signature boxes are supposed to go. So when you click on a PDF, and then keep in mind, this is where this is going to become an issue for you, all right? Let's say that Kathy is doing the listing agreement. I'm sorry, she's doing the contracts for her sale of the home, for her listing. She sends those documents over to Raymond, and then Raymond takes the documents and then he sends it to his buyers, and then his buyers sign, and then he signs, and then he sends the documents back to Kathy. But he's not using DocuSign, so he sends it back to Kathy as a PDF. So now Kathy, when she gets the document, she gets it back as a PDF like this, which means that DocuSign has no idea where the sellers are supposed to sign, where their initial boxes are supposed to go, where Kathy's signature box is supposed to go. So now Kathy has to go through the document and she has to add room participants to the envelope to now sign the document, which means she now has to go through that document and she has to put all the initial boxes for seller 1, all the initial boxes for seller 2, all the signature boxes for seller 1, all the signature. All right, so I think you're hopefully getting the picture. It's a lot of work. Now, this is one way that I would explain to the buyer's agent, which would be Raymond in this example, is I would say to Raymond, hey, Raymond, listen, I'm going to send out the documents to you to look at first. If you need any changes, please let me know. If everything's good to go, it'll make my life a whole lot easier and your life a whole lot easier, because if you just give me their full names and their email addresses, I can just email it out to them. Now, the reason that I'm asking Raymond to do that is because it's saving me time. To have a 2-minute conversation with him, to have him give me the information for his clients, I will then go into the details page and I will scroll to the buyer side and I will add buyer 1's name, buyer's 2's name, and the buyer's agent name. So now when I come into the document, right, because we talked about pre-tag roles, here's the contract, right? What it's going to do is, when I come in here, because DocuSign has pre-tagged the roles, it's going to start putting in the information for the buyer. So you see how the buyer's name is here? It saves me that time. So now when I right click on this to create the envelope, watch this. Remember, if you got this back as a PDF, you would have to be room participant and you'd have to add all of those boxes. By me just having a quick phone call with the buyer's agent to get the information, I click pre-tag roles. Now I can do this: seller 1, seller 2, buyer 1, buyer 2, listing agent, buyer's agent. I can say that, all right, so I'm gonna have to use some names here because I haven't changed this. So I'm just gonna put some people into these spots here so you can see how easy this is. So here's Freddie Mercury again. Here's Biggie Smalls, and here's listing agent, and where's Jim Day, and then there. So now you see how I've added all of the names for these people just with a couple of clicks. So now when I go to add selected, watch what happens. You see how it's adding all those people? So now, here's my sellers, which, I would just move these people into the second, move them to the second position, so just put a 2 here. And then buyer's agent, I would move him up to be the first person. So there you go, buyer's agent, buyer 1, buyer 2, listing agent, okay? And then just change the position here. So what will happen is, the reason that I changed the numbers here in this section here is because this is the order in which the document is being emailed out to the parties. So by putting the buyer side in the first positions, they will get the document first. Then, when the last person signs, it will then get sent to everyone in the seller side. All right. Now, I'm going to show you one additional thing when you're here. So let's say that we're dealing with an attorney. Well, he's a room participant. So I will click room participant, and let's say that that person is going to be Kathy. So I'm going to add Kathy. She's the attorney. Now, Kathy only needs to receive a copy. So I'm going to change her information from needs to sign to receives a copy, and I'm going to put her in position number 3. So now what happens is, once everybody signs this document, Kathy, who's the attorney, will then get a copy of the fully executed contract at the end. So it saves you one step. So if you're down at the beach and you're chilling out with your kids and your family or whatever, and instead of you having to run back to a laptop to send the documents back out again, this will automatically do that. Now, I'm going to tell you another pro tip, another reason why it's important to get the buyer's information in this scenario. And it's because once the last person signs, and that would be actually Kathy, once she receives a copy, everybody in this email will then get another email saying, hey, the document has been fully signed by all parties. Here's your copy of it. So for all of you other agents that maybe have not done a deal or have done a deal, the way that it's supposed to go is once you have all signatures on the contracts, you then have to send it out to the listing side or the buyer side and say, hey, please acknowledge that you have receipt of fully executed contracts. Then he's supposed to send it to his clients, and then that's when the clock is supposed to start for attorney review the following business day. When you do it like this via DocuSign, you don't have to do that anymore because DocuSign will automatically send it out to all parties to say, hey, here is the fully executed document. The only thing you would need to do at that point is send a text message to the agent saying, hey, did you get the contracts fully signed by all parties? And he'll say yes, and then that's it, you're good. Because the system will automatically do that. And that's why if you have a test account for yourself, like under your name, you can test this, what I'm telling you, by yourself. So you can see what it looks like when you send this document to yourself. You're going to get these messages in email. So I'm going to pause there for a second. Does anyone have a question? Giselle, Beverly, Raymond? No, we're all good? Oh, wait, someone has something in the chat. Okay. All right. So keep in mind the differences between the pre-tag roles and the room participant. And with regards to you being on the selling side, try to ask the agent, for his client's information. You're going to get pushback sometimes, but the thing is that in the end, you already have their information. So, what's the difference if you grab it now, So it's just saving time. If they don't want to give it to you and, you know, they want to bust your chops about it, well, you try. So I'm just trying to show you how you can make your life a little bit easier by trying to get that information from them. All right. So I'm going to close this out and I'll clean these up later. All right. So going back to the documents. Now, what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to show you two things, and I'm going to show you one from here where I'm at right now, instead of switching screens back and forth a little bit. Do you guys all see this ID number up top here? You see where it says copy and paste this room ID number into your email subject?
Mhm.
All right. Take note of that for the second, for right now. Just take note of that, where that number is. Now, I'm going to go over to where it says inbox, and I'm going to click this button up here. Now, this is my DocuSign inbox. Do you see this email address up top here?
Mhm.
All right. This is what I would love for you guys to do, and you don't have to do this, but if you don't do this, you're just making your life harder. I would copy and paste that email address into an email. When the email is opened, if you're using Google, and I'll try to do that for you here. Let's see if I can log in real quick. Whoops. So I'm going to take that email address and I'm going to put it into an email. Now, when you do this, your email will pop up here, hover over it, and then you should see a little contact, like a contact card open up. This should be a little plus sign. Click the plus sign and then add this email to your contact information. Now, the reason that I'm asking you to do this is for a couple of different reasons. The biggest one is the fact that you're at the closing table with your clients, and then the closing clerk looks at you and says, hey, how would you like your documents? Would you like printed copies, or would you like me to email a PDF to you? You can say, hey, you know something? Here is my DocuSign email address. Email it to me here. All right. Now, the reason that I tell you to do that is because when she sends you that document, it's going to come to your inbox in DocuSign. And then when you get it here in your inbox, all you have to do is click on the file. So we'll do this in real time. I'm gonna, I don't think I have a PDF because I'm using a different computer. So let's just write some garble, whatever. And I'm just going to email this out. Now I'm going to click send. All right, so we're going to wait a couple of seconds to see that come over, because eventually it'll pop itself into my inbox here. So I'm going to hit the refresh button, see if it's working quickly. All right, so it'll take a couple of seconds. By doing that, what I'm doing is I'm actually creating the ability of being able to send documents straight to my inbox, right? Now, remember how I was showing you with regards to that unique ID number, right? So let's say I go back to the room because I didn't copy that ID number, and that's fine, but I wanted you to take note of it. Where's my attachment? So here's that ID number, right? So I'm gonna copy and paste this ID number. And I'm gonna put that number in the subject matter. So I'm gonna type in my DocuSign, which is going to be your name dot whatever. And then I'm gonna say, all right. So I'm showing you a lot of pro tips right now, which is gonna make your life a lot easier. So I'm gonna come back over here and I'm just gonna. I should eventually see a little red dot in the inbox. Sometimes it pops up, sometimes it doesn't. I'm gonna go back to the inbox. All right, it's still taking a little bit of time coming over, and that happens because it's got to go through a couple of different servers. So I'm gonna come back to my test room here. So now what I'm gonna show you is I have that unique ID number. I have my email address, right? So I have the email address, I have that unique ID number, and then what I have is I put hashtag PDF. So what I'm doing right now is, let's say that Kathy, you have a conversation with your buyer. You tell your buyer, hey, you know something, I really think you should do a home inspection. And your buyer says to you, you know something, I know construction, I don't need to do a home inspection. I'm okay, I know what I'm buying. Okay, but you know something, I really advise that you should have a home inspection. No, I don't want to have one done. Besides the fact that you should be getting a letter actually signed from him, which would be one of the addendums that we have telling you that he's doing that. Let's say that you had that conversation in this email here. Let's say that you told him, hey, you better get an inspection. And his response is no. What I'm showing you here is I'm now going to send this email. I'm going to forward it to myself in DocuSign, right? I'm going to email it to my DocuSign email address. I know where it's going to go because I grabbed this unique ID number. So I'm going to put it in the subject matter of the email. So basically what I'm telling the system is, I want you to send this email to James at DocuSign. Then I want you to go to this ID number at 5031791. And then I want you to turn this email into a PDF. So now what I did was I turned it into a PDF and I'm going to wait for it to come over into DocuSign. Eventually, it should auto-populate in this room where eventually it will show like this. So now you have a documented copy of that email in your DocuSign. So when your buyer tells you 2 years, 3 years, whatever down the line, and he's suing you because something happened on the home inspection, well, the one that he didn't do, that he's going to blame you now because you're the agent, so he's going to blame you. Well, now you can go back to that email and say, well, hold on a second, Joe. I told you to get a home inspection. And he's going to say, no, you didn't. And you're going to be like, no, I did. And you want to know why I know that I did? Because I have that email here, and here's that email, and you'll see his email address because it's a forwarded email. So this is going to be converted from an email into a PDF that you, excuse me. Excuse me, wow. That's something in my throat. All right. So basically what would happen, all right. So basically what you're doing is you're turning that email into a PDF so that you can keep the copy of it in DocuSign for your files. I would also save it to your laptop or your desktop, just so you have it for future references. And here it is. I think this is it. So you see how this finally came over through the system? This is how you can save an email into a PDF. You better get an inspection. No. So now you have this copy to always protect yourself in the future. Right? That, what do you call it, should have popped over here by now, but it's not. I guess it's taking a little longer. Now, one other thing I want to show you with regard to how you name these things. So I'm going to type in James, there's my email address, right? I'm going to type in the ID number, hashtag PDF, which turns it into a PDF. And let's say I want to name it, hashtag told him about home inspection. So now what this is going to do is it's going to email to me. It's going to go straight directly into the room. It's going to turn it into a PDF. And then it's going to name the document I told him to get a home inspection. So when I come back to DocuSign and I go to the room, instead of it saying message from James, it will now say told him to get a home inspection. All right, so what I've showed you there is at a much deeper level of how to put these documents into DocuSign for yourself, okay? So like, again, here's the conversation, here's the back and forth that we had, going back and forth, me telling him to do all this stuff and so on and so forth, all right? So eventually when that comes in, that will rename the message under the name that I put in. Anyone have any questions up until that point about that? Excuse me. All right. And I'll show you one. So you used to be able to, well, you still can, splitting of documents. And I don't have a multi-PDF document in here to actually show you right now. But for you to get the gist of it, let's say that one of these documents, let's say it's the contract. The contract has a couple of different pages. Let's say I want to take some of those pages out, all right? All right, let's pretend this is not the contract, but something else. So here, this is going to open up. So, and I think I went a little bit too fast. Did you guys see how I got to splitting of document? All right. So basically what you do is you right click on the file and then it'll pop up, you'll see split. So what I can do from here is, let's say that these first two pages of the document are whatever. Let's say the Alta, right? So I can say Alta. Oops. And then what I would do is I would go pages 1 to 2. Right? And then I can add another document and say, all right, well, this is going to be the clear title. And I can say that's going to be pages 3 to 6. So I do 3 to 6. So what it's doing is, at the end, when I go to save, it's gonna save these two documents as one file, Alta, and it's gonna save these 4 pages as clear title. It will save those documents here. Well, now Command has just updated some information because now you can actually split the documents from Command. So I can actually come into whatever folder that I'm in, so I could say, I'm in the under contract folder here, right? And I'm just gonna remove these so you can see where I'm gonna eventually put them. So here's where I want to split those documents. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the folder in question. So I'm in the under contract folder. I'm going to come over to the meatball menu over here. I'm going to click on it, and then you see where it says split attached PDF. I'm going to click split. Then what it's going to do, it's going to ask me, okay, well, where are we pulling this document? And I'm going to say, all right, we're going to pull this document from DocuSign. And let's say that it's going to be the contract, shoot. All right. So what I did was, I'm just choosing here, this section here is just choosing where the file is coming from. So because I don't have a large PDF file in DocuSign, I have one in my customized folder. So all I did was switch here where it's coming from. All right, but you're more than likely going to be pulling it from DocuSign. But what I did was I clicked custom folders, and then I clicked the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, okay, because I know that that's about 300 pages. And I'm going to click next. Oh, shoot. All right. Let's see. All right. So now it's pulling a document, and there's the document in question. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to the top left-hand side here, and I'm going to click split, and it's almost the same thing. So I can say, all right, well, I want you to attach this to this place marker. So I want you to go to this spot here. And I'm going to say pages 1 through 20, and then name that as the Alta, for example. And I'm going to attach another one, and I'm going to say, all right, well, I want you to go to spot number 2. And I want you to save this to pages 21 to pages 40. And I want you to name that clear title. Okay, now when I save this information here, what's going to happen is it's now going to save the information. It's telling me that it split the documents. When I come back here, until they fix a little bit of a glitch that they have, just hit the refresh button. And what you should see is proposal purchase 1 should have a file here. Proposal purchase 2 should end up having a file here as well too. So I'm going to hit the refresh button. And there you are. So what it did was it took that bigger folder or that bigger file, which is there, right? And what it's done is it's separated them here. So if I click on this file, this should be 20 pages long. Page 20. So basically, that's how you can split the document. So you can do it from DocuSign, and then bring your folders in. But because of this change now, this makes it a whole lot easier. Because now I can just take the document and then split it from here and add it into, because the closed file is where it would go. Because here's where marked up title would go. Here's where the commission check, closing documents, the Alta, right? So that's how easy it would be to split those documents and then put them into their placeholders here. So I'm going to end there because I know you guys have been here for a while and I appreciate it. Any questions up until this part for what I've showed? Anything? No, we're all good? Giselle, Raymond? Let me switch over to the text. No, we're all good? If you guys are all good, then that's all I have for today. Keep an eye out for the calendar and, you know, see if you can get in for those next classes. The next class I'm doing, like I said, is on the the next class that I'm doing is going to be on the 27th. That's going to be here in the office, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do a Facebook lead gen ad and show you how for 20 bucks you can get leads. All right. Now, depending on the ad, depends a lot on how you create it, what content's in it. You can end up getting 5 leads from it, or you can end up getting 40, 50 leads from it. There's really no telling what you can do, but at a bare minimum for $20, you're gonna end up getting some leads off of it. So it's just a question of how good the content that you're creating for the ad, if that makes any sense. All right. Again, guys, thank you for stopping in. Thanks for coming into the sales meeting. If you have any questions, reach out to me, email me, text me, and you guys enjoy the rest of your day. All right.